Welcome to the final night of week 4 of the Simulations Football League's 14th season. Alongside Mark Mello on stats and analyst Eddie Gage, I am Michael Cirillo. Tonight, one of the league's best offenses in the Sioux Falls Sparrows, flying high, 3-0 behind dynamite running back Colin Hart, plays host to a dominating defense looking to turn their season around for the better in the Chicago Wildcats tonight. Hello and a very warm welcome. I'm your play-by-play commentator, Michael Cirillo. Eddie Gage in the booth with me. Eddie, it's that old adage of an unstoppable force against an immovable object. Who do you think wins this one tonight?
What up, though, SFL Nation? It's too early to tell. That's why we're here tonight. And we'll see. Sioux Falls offense uses a running game that no other team in this league uses. We'll see how Chicago counters it tonight.
Put on some shades. It's highlighter yellow versus highlighter orange on the field tonight as the Sparrows hit the road in their all yellow uniforms as the hometown Wildcats in their orange strips. We're down to the field for the coin toss. Kickoff is just a few moments away. Stay with us. And it looks like Chicago will be getting the football first. Kicker Maxwell Falk has the ball on the tee for the Sparrows. His hand is in the air. The whistle blows. The ball's in the air. Game on from Chicago and the Thunderdome from the 5-yard line. The ball is returned up to the 20, and that is as far as the return will go, up to the 24-yard line. Davius Reed on the return. Here is the Chicago offense behind quarterback E.T. King. The running back is Ash Odom. Fullback Mike Improta. Wide receivers Corey Carter and Davius Reed. Liam Hammer and J.C. Torres also out wide. And Ryan Yosef and Shan Varner manning the tight end position. Heavy run formation, a single receiver out to the right on 1st and 10 from the 24-yard line, headed right to left. Here's Ash Odom on first down. Gets hammered after he gets 3 yards by A.J. Levy, the strong safety.
He got 3 yards in the first quarter. He's hoping to make it 5 yards in the second half. Chicago looking to come out and make a statement, starting off this game with a power running game.
And they seem to be trying to counter the good run game from the Sparrows with a nice run game of their own. Ash Odom, not a running back to shake a stick at all behind fullback Mike Improta. 2nd and 7 after the pickup of 3. Handoff goes to Odom looking for a lane. Finds one, shakes 2 tackles, gets in the open field. He gets a first down out to the 40-yard line.
Ash Odom was one broken tackle away from making it a foot race to the end zone. Chicago coming out trying to run the ball down Sioux Falls' throat and give them a taste of their own medicine.
Odom in his 2nd season in Chicago after stints with Queen City and Alaska. Moving the chains for the Wildcats. 1st and 10 at their own 40-yard line. First throw of the night for E.T. King. Lobs it over the middle. And got caught in between the safeties into Sioux Falls territory to the 34-yard line. It's Shan Varner.
Shan Varner doesn't have a lot. He hasn't been as productive this season as he has in past seasons. But thus far, with the opening up this running game, it's putting a lot of attention on those linebackers, picking the backfield just a bit too long and allow him to get over the top for a big completion.
Varner 184 yards and a touchdown coming into the night. 6-man box for the Sparrows. They'll only rush 3, but E.T. King still under pressure, has to throw it to the near side, and it's caught at the 21-yard line. That one hauled in by J.C. Torres.
Chicago, they're mixing it up here. They just come out in shotgun on this time, but they gave their quarterback some protection with both their tailbacks in the backfield. And here it is, Sioux Falls is going to challenge this ball.
I'm going to say he was out of bounds. It did look close, and it almost looked like King was throwing the ball away when he first threw it. We'll go to the replay.
I thought he did get 1 foot down, but we have to see what the ref says.
Let's see, and I think he did drag both feet in.
Yeah.
So this should stand and be a first down for the Wildcats, who have had a very efficient drive to this point to open up the game. So Sioux Falls charged a timeout. Not really the biggest deal here in the first quarter.
Not so much in the first half, but you don't want to make bad decisions like that in the second half.
2 first downs already for the Wildcats on this drive, and they're at their opponent's 21-yard line already. 9:19 to go first quarter. Offset eye behind E.T. King. He'll take the snap, drop back, have plenty of time in the pocket. Now the pressure comes. He throws the ball to the right side. It's tipped in the air, and it's gone. Oh, it's caught on the deflection to the 5-yard line by Torres.
That ball, I thought it was going to be picked off. It bounced off a couple of Sioux Falls defenders' hands, and Torres, being alert, was able to make an immaculate reception there. Someone like Pittsburgh did way back in the day when Cam wasn't even born yet.
That ball was deflected about 3 times, and Torres picked it off the turf for a first down to go to the 5. I'm sensing catch of the week material right there. Handoff, Odom up the middle. He gets nowhere. Run down by number 92, Nick Fargo, one of the linebackers. I haven't had a chance to go through the Sioux Falls defense. We'll do that right now. Defensive ends, James Kelly and Jonathan Comp. Alex Parker, Jose Fuentes, and Nick Fargo is a very strong linebacking core. Corners, John Barnhart and Terrell Davis. Safeties, Jay Ringgold and A.J. Levy. Here's that power I formation again on 2nd and goal from the 5. They're going to hand it off to Odom right up the middle, and he powers his way into the end zone for a Chicago touchdown. A strong opening for the Wildcats here tonight.
Ash Odom wasn't touched until he was at the goal line. Great blocking up front, which can be hard to do. As you alluded to earlier, Sioux Falls, one of the few teams who deploys 3 linebackers, yet Chicago made it look easy on that play.
He absolutely destroyed John Barnhart, who tried to make a solo tackle at the 1-yard line as he waltzed into the end zone. That's Ash Odom's 2nd rushing touchdown of the season, to go with his 333 rushing yards coming into tonight. On to attempt the extra point is Anthony Cece. And the extra point is up and good. So Chicago with a 7-0 lead, 8:13 to go first quarter. And that's what you want to do at home against this tough opponent, an undefeated opponent in Sioux Falls. You want to come out and make a big statement.
Absolutely, and that they did. They got the fans riled up. They're just jumping out of their seats. The crowd is going crazy, and they're looking to come out here and, as you said, make a statement.
Ball on the tee for Cece. Kick is away. Let's see what the Sparrows can do on offense. Take it from the goal line up to the 10, 15, 20, 25. Just barely didn't get to the 25 to the 23. We mentioned Ash Odom. We're about to see Colin Hart. They're 2 of the top running backs in the league and should put on plenty of fireworks tonight.
Sioux Falls deploys a power running game. It is the staple of their offense. To have any chance to win this game, Chicago's going to have to find a way to limit Colin Hart in this running game.
He is the dot of the offset eye on 1st and 10 for their own 23-yard line, going left to right here in this first quarter. Handoff goes to Hart. He gets a block from the fullback, cuts it back inside, and gets 3 yards on first down. Here is the rest of the Sioux Falls offense. Their quarterback is Julian Tyree. Their wide receivers are A.J. Warren, Riley Porter, and Al Dillapre Sr. Their running backs are Colin Hart and Jalen Wells, the fullback, who will be blocking for him, and Noe Terrazas is the tight end. 7 minutes, 40 seconds to go, first quarter. Chicago with a 7-0 lead after an opening first drive. Here's a handoff up the middle, and that's going to get almost a first down. Gain of 6, 3rd and 1. That was Jalen Wells, the fullback, on his first carry of the night.
Chicago tends to deploy this nickel defense no matter what the opposition presents it to them. And if they can hold up tonight and hold Colin Hart down, that would be awfully impressive.
We've seen a good amount of the fullback dive by Wells, but here's Hart, left side, gets a nice seal block and gets a first down out to the 36-yard line. Wells, 14 carries for 54 yards a week ago for Sioux Falls in their victory over the Arizona Scorpions. So they're not afraid to run the fullback dive.
No, they aren't. They, as I alluded to, this running game of Sioux Falls is awfully impressive.
They will grind opponents to dust on the ground game, but don't sleep on Julian Tyree, the seasoned veteran at quarterback. Here's another fullback dive to Wells. He'll get 5 yards straight up the middle. Let's take a look at the Chicago defense. On the defensive line, it's Gerald Giudice and Raymond Jones III. Linebackers Clint Hendershot and Blake Craze. Corners Greg Gaines and Jesse Vick. Safeties Maurice Spurgeon, Ron Hoff, and A.J. Barnes. 2nd and 5 after the fullback dive from the 42-yard line. Sioux Falls on their first drive of the game. Here's Colin Hart. Another great block out in front. He's going to fall forward for a first down at the 47-yard line.
Awfully impressive tackle in the open field out there for Chicago. Able to bring him down in open field. It's no small task. Yet Clint Hendershot was up to the task and he got him on the ground. Otherwise, that could have been a foot race to the end zone.
No fullback out there on 1st and 10 for the 47, 4 wide. Maybe we'll see a first pass from Tyree. We will. He pump fakes and gets wrestled to the ground back at the 41-yard line. Raymond Jones III came up to make the sack, his 3rd of the season.
Not to bring my age into this, but back when I was a kid and we played football, the defensive lineman always told us, if they have time to pump fake, that's on us. If they don't, that's on you. That time, a coverage sack by the Chicago defense.
A.J. Warren, Riley Porter, and Al DeLapre Sr. are no easy feat to cover. It's going to be Greg Gaines, Jesse Vick, and the safeties for Chicago's job. Now on 2nd and 16 over the middle into traffic and incomplete, intended for DeLapre.
3rd and long. This is not a favorable spot for Sioux Falls. This is not what they like to do. They like to stay in front of the chains, and anytime you can get them in 3rd and long situations, it tends to work out in your favor. We'll see if they can find a way to get off the field here on 3rd and 16.
I'm interested to see why they decided to stop running. They had about a good 5 yards a carry from both Hart and Wells, and then they suddenly decided to go to the air, and it resulted in a sack and an incompletion, bringing up this 3rd and 16.
Julian Tyree needs to be very careful with the football here.
Empty backfield, 4 wide. 4-man front for Chicago, with the linebackers playing well back of the line of scrimmage. Tyree, plenty of time to throw. Now has to move in the pocket. He's going to be sacked again. 2nd time in 3 plays. He's gone down. It's going to be 4th and 22 after the sack by Donnie Odom.
Just what you and I were just talking about. 3rd and 16. Sioux Falls comes out in a 90-yard slants, and it takes up that play a while to develop if you're going to get the first down. Otherwise, it's just going to be a 10-yard gain and punting it. Julian Tyree tried to be patient and found himself on the turf.
Big kick in the air away from Max Moholt, returned up to the 33-yard line by Davius Reed, and that'll be where the Chicago Wildcats will try to extend their 7-0 lead after the break. This is the Simulation Football League on 11 Sports and for the fans. Thanks. Yeah, that was weird. Why did Sioux Falls stop running? I do.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Chicago, Illinois. The Chicago Wildcats have a 7-0 lead and the football as they try to extend their lead over the unbeaten visiting Sioux Falls Sparrows on the final day of Week 4 of the regular season. Handoff, Ash Odom makes a cut in the backfield and gets free for 7 yards up to the 40.
Chicago's offensive line so far has dictated the pace of how this game is going to go.
And Ash Odom has been the more well, I can't say he's been the more impressive running back, because when Colin Hart did touch the ball on that first drive, he was impressive, but getting behind the chains mean they had to go away from him. Here's a throw to the far side. That's complete. First down, and fumbled the football. It's loose on the turf, picked up by the Sparrows, and it looks like Sioux Falls is going to have the ball back. It's a fumble recovery for A.J. Levy.
A.J. Levy, I'm telling you guys, he's been doing this for a long time, but he got help from his teammates getting in to force the fumble. Unfortunately for him, he stepped out of bounds, but don't worry, Putty. Your offense will take it from here.
Nick Fargo with the huge hit. That's his second big hit of the game. As you see, A.J. Levy's all-time numbers in the top 5 all-time for interceptions, over 500 solo tackles as well. The 9-season veteran has spent all 9 seasons in Sioux Falls. Here's a run up the middle.
That's Tyree again.
Yeah, that was Julian Tyree on the quarterback sneak. Not many teams employ that one in the SFL. Not many of these quarterbacks are mobile, but Sioux Falls is one of those teams that like to run so much, sometimes they like to confuse the defense with that quarterback run.
That they do.
Tyree to throw. Hasn't completed a pass yet today. He's going to go over the middle, and
Oh,
it's going to be intercepted. He airmailed that one right to the safety, and but
he
that's fumbled
fumbled.
on the return. The ball is loose on the ground. It's a scramble. I think Chicago recovers. Absolute insanity in the first quarter here in Chicago.
I'm not sure who they recovered. I couldn't even tell throughout the melee over there, but that was beautiful interception there by Chicago, and he coughed it right back up to the opposition. And I believe Chicago got that ball back.
Well, I can't tell from any of these angles. The interception was made by A.J. Barnes. It is going to be Chicago football. Clint Hendershot on the recovery, the linebacker. A.J. Barnes, his first interception of the season. He's another 9-season veteran, is Barnes. Here's E.T. King. Plenty of time to throw. Now he has to scramble to the pocket, and he's going to go down. The defensive line finally gets to E.T. King, drops him for a sack, and that's a huge loss of 7 yards.
Cover sack there. Chicago went out with the intention of spreading Sioux Falls out. Sioux Falls stuck to the game plan, didn't take the bait, and stayed home and cover sack for Sioux Falls. And you can't clout their defense so far trying to keep them in this game. They're playing with maximum effort.
That sack was by Jonathan Camp, his first of the game, his fourth of the season. Pass over the middle, deflected by John Barnhart. It'll be 3rd down and 17, and let's see what Chicago dials up from long way behind the sticks.
This has been a crazy game thus far.
Interceptions, crazy deflected catches, fumbles on both sides. It seems like an entire game has passed, and we've still got 2:58 to go in the first quarter. They're in the 5-wide set, E.T. King alone. Plenty of time for King to sling it over the middle, and it's intercepted! Unbelievable! This King keeps swinging back and forth. It's the other safety, Jay Ringgold, with the pick. His first of the season, and Sioux Falls are at the Chicago 25.
Both of these quarterbacks, I don't know if they're just nervous about the game or just haven't got the cobwebs out yet. I think there was a cover 2 defense. I wasn't quite sure. I didn't see the back end of it. But the safety back there with no responsibility other than the Z receiver, easy read for that interception.
I think both quarterbacks need to have a sit down with their coaches and calm down a little bit. Because this game is, as Sudadakai says in the chat on FTF Next on Twitch, this game is wackadoodle. I couldn't agree more. That's the first completion for A.J. Levy. He's going to get a first down to the 9-yard line as the pass was picked up by A.J. Warren.
I actually thought he stepped out of bounds a few yards before where they marked him at, but yeah, I think he was out around a 13-yard line.
Yeah, you may be right. Let's see if Chicago challenges this. We've already seen a failed challenge from Sioux Falls, which is why they only have 2 timeouts. Then Chicago says we don't want to burn a timeout over something like that. 1st and goal for the Sparrows, trying to tie this one up at 7. 2:18 to go first quarter. Tyree out to Colin Hart. He's put in the ground after no gain. He got back to the line of scrimmage and nothing more. There have been some heavy hits so far in this game, Eddie.
Yes, they have. They just introduced him to the turf there. Vicious hit.
Second down and goal. Minute 53 to go first quarter. Tyree back to pass. No pressure to the back of the end zone. Tipped and incomplete. He was looking for A.J. Warren. And the pass was knocked away. 3rd and goal.
I'm not sure what he saw there, but that receiver was never open. In fact, no one on the field was. He'd have been better off either taking off with it or throwing it over the goalpost.
Third down and goal from the 9. D-line shifts And they bring in extra linebacker. That's Clint Hendershot, but they drop him back in coverage to the snap. Tyree hit as he throws to the back of the end zone. Intercepted again! Maurice Spurgeon with the interception in the back of the end zone. And the Sparrows come up empty.
I don't think Sioux Falls caught a running play on this entire drive, which is not like them. Chicago comes out, and I believe that was a cover 2 blitz, bringing a middle linebacker, and they paid for it.
Will the insanity continue? Find out after the break. This is the SFL on FTF and For the Fans. Back in Chicago, Wildcats with a 7-0 lead after yet another turnover in the ball game. Give the Wildcats the ball back at the 7-yard line. Here's E.T. King, throws to the far side, and an out route caught and turning upfield for a first down just past the 30-yard line is Davius Reed, his first catch of the ball game. The interception on that last play was Maurice Spurgeon's second of the season.
Both teams coming out with the intention of moving down the ball downfield via the passing game, and I'm surprised they've gotten away with so much success that they had earlier this season running the ball.
And even earlier this game, the first drive where Chicago scored, Ash Odom was a big part of it in the running game. Here's E.T. King on 1st and 10, throws near side. Another safe throw to the outside is caught by Torres. He gets 7. And on their first drive before the punt, Sioux Falls was moving the ball very effectively via the ground as well, but they went away from it, tried to throw, and then Julian
All chaos taken loose.
Yeah, and then chaos broke loose, yes. 2nd down and 3. A little bit of calm has set over the field once again as we've gone 2 plays without an interception. A minute to go, first quarter. Another out route, complete first down yardage to their own 43. Caught by Corey Carter.
Looks like Chicago's offensive coordinator is trying to calm E.T. down, giving him some safe throws and getting his confidence back.
Yeah, that's 3 of those little out route to the corners in a row. And King 3 for 3 on this drive and has his team all the way up near midfield. Under a minute to go now in the first quarter. I formation. Odom gets the handoff, shrugs off a tackle, gets 5. Before he is tackled by Levy, or, excuse me, that's Jay Ringgold, the other safety.
The would-be defender who he ran over is looking for smelling sauce on the sideline.
That was Nick Fargo, who's hit him very hard twice already in this game. Odom was like, I'm having none of that. The defense jumps, free play for Chicago, would have been a first down anyway. They give it to Odom, and he gets to around the first down marker at the 48. 17 seconds left to go in the first quarter. We'll have one more play because of the stoppage of the clock.
Yeah, I thought he was just a bit short, so Chicago would be smart to take this penalty, and they do.
So the final play of the first quarter, as I assume it will be with 17 seconds to go, will be a 1st and 10 for the Chicago Wildcats. Oh no, the clock ran out. And that's the end of the first quarter. Chicago 7, Sioux Falls nothing. This is the Simulation Football League on 11 Sports and For the Fans. Stay with us. Second quarter underway from Chicago. The Wildcats have a 7-0 lead over the visiting Sioux Falls Sparrows, who are trying to keep their undefeated season going. Final night of week 4. I'm Michael Chirillo. My partner in crime in the booth is Eddie Gage. Pass from E.T. King to the near side. That's caught. And 9 yards gained by Shan Varner. Our man in the stats truck providing all of the essential information tonight is Mark Mello. And after the craziness that was the back end of the first quarter, Eddie, it looks like E.T. King and the Wildcats offense have settled down a bit.
Yeah, safe throws, not going down this field as much. And like I said, trying to boost his confidence.
Hand off. Odom shakes one tackle and eventually has to be drugged to the ground by A.J. Levy and Jose Fuentes.
Alex Parker just got annihilated on that would-be tackle. My goodness.
Alex Parker and Nick Fargo used to be one of the most feared linebacking tandems in the SFL, and now they've added, well, this is Jose Fuentes' second season in Sioux Falls, added him from Atlanta. Over the middle, another safe throw underneath, and getting absolutely leveled after he made the catch was Corey Carter. He does pick up 8 yards.
Yeah, he was level, but he'll take it. Receivers don't care how they get it, as long as they get it and they get it off. He would have helped himself out a lot better if he made that a clean catch, and he would have had time to get himself down to protect himself, but he'll take the 8 yards nonetheless.
Jay Ringgold, like a speeding bullet, smacked into him, brought him to the ground. 2nd down and 2 offset I. Look for another Odom carry here, but it's going to be an E.T. King throw over the middle into traffic. Dangerous throw, but it is hauled in at the 15-yard line. This is a very efficient drive for Chicago, reminding me of their first drive of the game when they went down and scored. That's J.C. Torres picking up another catch.
J.C. Torres has been putting in work tonight. This one, a completion via hitch route. He's showing his entire repertoire tonight with all these route trees he's been running so far.
1st and 10 from the 15. Here's Ash Odom. Shakes off one tackle and again gets tripped up. It looked like he went down holding like maybe a thigh or an ankle, but he gets up and gets back to the huddle. That looked very awkward there, Eddie.
I can tell you from experience, anytime you get dragged down by your ankle, those defenders tend to purposely twist them up to get you an ankle sprain. Not nice.
We'll see if Odom is okay. E.T. King survives the blitz, gets the ball out to the far side, caught just short of a 1st down at the 5-yard line.
Go on, hurry up.
Yeah, that was Torres again on the catch. King to the near side, caught at the 2. The hurry-up continues. That was Corey Carter. Can they get in the end zone and extend the lead here? 8:26 to go second. E.T. King floats into the back of the end zone, but intercepted. It's a carbon copy of the interception that Julian Tyree threw on the previous drive, and they give the ball back to the Sparrows and come up empty in the red zone.
I tell you what, that play fooled me. It looked for a moment like they were going to bring a blitz and backed out of it, and I'm sure that fooled the quarterback too, Julian Tyree. Touchdown taken off the board, and Sioux Falls, despite all their mistakes, still has a chance, only down 7-0.
First down and 10 from the 20 after yet another turnover. Tyree back to pass, hit as he threw, but the ball is complete. Out there to Riley Porter. That's Porter's first catch of the evening.
We've had enough excitement here for an entire game here in 1.5 quarters already.
And we mentioned this in the break, Eddie, as maybe this play will prove me wrong. They will. Hand off to Colin Hart, and that ruins the point I was just about to bring up. As you see, Sioux Falls is consistently, save for season 12, been one of the better rushing teams in the Simulation Football League. They commit to the run and stay with it, which makes it seem so odd that was Colin Hart's first touch since the opening drive of the game.
Odd indeed. Sioux Falls has a power running game unlike any other team in the SFL.
They're going to throw again and again under pressure and floating it up, and Porter comes down with it. That was a ridiculous throw by Julian Tyree. I mean, I've heard of circus catches, but never before a circus throw.
You're taught to see as they challenge this play, but you're taught to see the receiver before you let the ball go, and he just assumed he would be open, and that almost was a pick six.
There was a defender right there. They're challenging if Porter kept his feet in bounds, and I wasn't really paying attention to that. We'll see on the replay, and ooh, that's close.
It's close, but I think he got that left foot down prior to his torso hitting the turf.
We'll see what the referees have to say, and it is going to be a successful, well, not a successful challenge, a successful defense of a challenge by Sioux Falls. So now both teams have burned a timeout here in this first half on an unsuccessful challenge.
Correct.
So Tyree has been under immense pressure from the defensive front of Chicago all night long. That time he made the throw with the defender practically in his lap. Handoff up the middle. That's Wells, and he gets about 2 yards before he's brought down by Clint Hendershot.
I'm very surprised here so far to see not many attempts for Sioux Falls to run that power running game, getting those guards out in front. Perhaps we'll see it later, and maybe they're holding it. But I'm very surprised thus far with this play calling by Sioux Falls.
They're in the right formation for. They got Chicago to jump, and they're going to weak side or strong side run rather to the left, and it's going to be a first down anyway. And that is exactly what you were talking about, Eddie. The power run with the guard, with the fullback, get Cullen Hart in space and let him do what he does best.
One of the hardest teams to defend because they make you commit and bring that extra safety down. And the moment you get too comfortable, that ball is flying over your head to either AJ Warren or Al Dupree Sr., and they do it as better as any team in this league.
So after the first down and the declined penalty, Sioux Falls has it at the 43-yard line. 6:36 to go first half. Sparrows still down 7-0. Handoff up the middle. And Jalen Wells gets a yard before he's brought down by Giudice. Gerald Giudice, one of our many, many rookies in this league, went through the draft, got picked in the 3rd round, 85th overall. And he's been impressive this season, coming into the game, 8 solo tackles, a sack, 3 tackles for loss, 2 passes defended. Not a bad stat line through 3 weeks for the rookie. But now in 2nd and 9, empty set. Tyree over the middle, and the slant works beautifully. 1st and 10 to the 44-yard line. Picking up the catch is A.J. Warren.
Getting back to Giudice, it's hard, I can tell you, for a defensive tackle to get 11 tackles. And he's done it already here in 4 games.
First and 10 from the 44. 5:37 and counting to go in the first half. It's a swing pass to Hart in space, and he won't get by the 2 defenders waiting for him there. That was Jesse Vick and Blake Craig.
But he'll take those 5 yards on first down, no less, every time.
This is the most efficient drive we've seen out of Sioux Falls practically all night, because their only other trip to the red zone was off of a deep turnover, and they couldn't make good on that possession. Tyree, plenty of time over the middle, finds his open receiver down past the 25 to the 24-yard line, where A.J. Warren makes the catch, and that is what the veteran will do to you if given time in the pocket.
Yeah, he had plenty of time. He also had Al Dupree Sr. open as well. He was just any, meeny, miny, mo out there on that play. I'm not sure what Chicago was doing.
I don't know, I guess trying to play some sort of zone. And Warren found the seam up the middle and made him pay for it. Here's that offset I formation. Another strong side run, this time to the right side. But the pulling block isn't there, and only a 2-yard gain for Hart.
Yeah, the guard got knocked down, and the defensive end did a great job of keeping his outside shoulder free, prevent him from getting outside, made him cut back inside where his help was waiting for him. Good job, Chicago, in defending that play.
We're going to show another running formation on 2nd and 8 with this heavy set, putting in the extra fullback, Freddie Fox, in the backfield, and Hart's going to get the ball, and he's going to get blockers. He's going to scoop past the tackle to the 5 and be brought down at the 3-yard line. Tackle by Ron Hoff, the safety, saved the touchdown.
Yeah, I thought he was in as well, Trilio. I thought he was off and that was going to be gone, but one of his blockers got held up, which actually slowed him down and allowed the defender to get there and make that tackle. His own man prevented him from getting to the end zone.
Look at Jalen Wells down the field. He was almost in the end zone blocking people as a fullback. That's where you want your fullback to be on those kind of runs. Let's see if they can punch it in. First and goal for the 3. Colin Hart bottled up and dropped for a loss of 1. This time the offensive line couldn't get the push.
Chicago's been doing their homework on this team. It's the second time on this drive that defensive end has kept his outside shoulder free, not allowing the running back to get outside and into the end zone.
Second out of 4 after the loss of 1. Just over 3 minutes to go, second quarter. Sioux Falls try to tie this game up. Colin Hart looking for a lane, gets caught up on his own blocker and gets back to the original line of scrimmage. Third and goal from the 4 as Clint Hendershot made the tackle.
Clint Hendershot, one of the better run stoppers in this league, and he got help from his defensive line there, pushing that offensive line a yard into the backfield.
Hendershot, 18 solo tackles coming into the night. Let's see if they can punch it in now on third and goal from the 4. It's going to be Hart. He's looking for his 5th touchdown of the season, and you can't put it on the board. Almost a tie game, an extra point away from it, as Colin Hart finally caps off a grinding Sioux Falls drive.
It's only a matter of time. I mean, you can only slow this running game down for so long. They continue to pound it, and they just break your will. It's only the second quarter. We'll see how Chicago defense holds up thus far throughout the rest of this game. But Colin Hart in this running game is a force to be reckoned with.
On to attempt the extra point is Maxwell Falk. 7 for 7 on the year for field goals. And his extra point is up and good. So with 2:37 to go in the second quarter, Sioux Falls has tied it up. It's Sparrows 7, Wildcats 7. We'll be back after the break. This is the Simulation Football League on 11 Sports. And for the fans, stay with us. Back inside the Thunderdome in Chicago, Illinois, I'm Michael Turillo. Alongside me is Eddie Gage and Mark Mello. As we have been taking you through this Week 4 Simulation Football League contest, the Sioux Falls Sparrows just had an impressive drive to tie the game up. Chicago returning it. And Davius Reed gets the ball up to the 27-yard line. And Sioux Falls on that drive got back to doing what they do best. Run the ball and then throw it over the top when you've committed too many members to the box.
Hard team to defend. They make you make choices that typically teams do not like to make.
And off up the middle, penalty flag on the play. Looks like Sioux Falls jumped. Odom gets back to the line of scrimmage and no more. So we'll see.
Not gonna accept this penalty.
Yeah, they'll have a first down and 5. That last play for last drive for Sioux Falls covered 12 plays, 73 yards, and ended with a 4-yard rushing touchdown. Thank you very much to Mark Mello and the Stats Truck for keeping us up to date with all the news and information that we need to make this broadcast so much better. Chicago on offense, though, they're facing a 1st and 5 after the penalty at their own 32-yard line. I formation, 3 receivers. Stacked box for Sioux Falls, but that will take us to the 2-minute warning of the first half. Chicago 7, Sioux Falls 7. Can anybody break the deadlock before the halftime break? Find out next. This is the Simulation Football League on 11 Sports and for the fans. Two minutes to go, first half. Chicago 7, Sioux Falls 7. 1st and 5 for the Wildcats after the penalty. Handoff, Odom looking for a lane, won't find it. He'll be dragged down right at the line of scrimmage. A host of yellow jerseys brought him down. Chief among them was Terrell Davis, but I also saw Nick Fargo and Jonathan Camp in there.
A host indeed. That was designed to go up the A gap, and Ash tried to cut it out to the C gap, and there's nowhere to go there either.
Second and 5, another handoff to Odom up the middle, and again, nowhere to run. The linebackers, Fargo and Parker, combine on the stop. 3rd and 4 after the...
Sioux Falls with those 3 star linebackers make things very difficult on any offense.
Look at all the yellow jerseys in the box for Sioux Falls on 3rd and 4. A minute left to go. Here's Odom the third time, but he went straight through it like a hot knife through buttery dive to the 43-yard line, first down. All the sparrows in the world couldn't stop that Wildcat, and now up-tempo, Odom gets the ball, and he's going to be stopped right at the line of scrimmage by Fargo. Looks like Odom, it's the Ash Odom show, and Chicago's going to call a timeout to try and get out of this formation and give themselves some more options.
Nothing doing with Sioux Falls on that first down carry. It looked like they may have fanned their defensive line there a bit, which allowed him to run up the middle like that, but they tightened things up and pinched down inside, as they call it, and got him on the ground.
Down the field from King, caught, diving catch into Sioux Falls territory. The Wildcats still have a timeout with 30 seconds left, but they're still going to go up tempo here as E.T. King saunters to the line. He calls for the ball. 21 seconds left. Plenty of time. He throws to the far side. Caught at the 15, to the 10, and run out of bounds at the 6-yard line. Liam Hammer, the brand new signing playing in his first game, makes the catch and puts the Wildcats in business at the 6-yard line.
Oh my goodness. He actually had another receiver open too. I didn't catch his number on the bottom of the screen running free. As Sioux Falls, I didn't catch the defender's name, but he was peeking in the backfield and he was open too. But I guess he wanted to get the rookie acclimated with this team and get him on the stat sheet as well.
First career catch for Liam Hammer. And now with 17 seconds left and one timeout, you got to give Chicago an advantage to go ahead in this game, and they'll do so right now. Ash Odom has both Chicago touchdowns. Put it on the board. The Wildcats lead again.
Chicago got back to their running game, caught Sioux Falls in a bad defensive setup and took advantage of it with a hurry-up offense. And just like that, after a stagnant offense by both teams, Chicago is going to end this half up 14-7, extra point pending. And Chicago's looking really good right now.
Anthony Cece on for the extra point. There are still 15 seconds to go in this first half. And despite the low-scoring game, it's been a wild and crazy first half of football.
Turnovers, fumbles, fumble recoveries that took forever to transpire. It's, as you said, it's been a wacky first half here. And there's still 22 minutes to go and 15 seconds depending on what happens here on this kickoff.
both quarterbacks have thrown 2 interceptions, and both teams have fumbled the ball once and lost it. So, who knows? The jury is out on what other silliness is going to happen in the second half. There's 9 seconds to go in the first half, and I don't know. I'm going to bet here on the Sparrows just running out the clock, going to the break, and trying to fight back in the second half.
This far now on the end, I would just hand this ball off to Colin Hart and go in the locker room, happy to be down just 7 points, despite all this action.
There's no Colin Hart on the field, so unless it's going to be a quarterback dive, here's a throw to the far sideline, tackled out of bounds with 5 seconds to go is Warren.
Chicago didn't play it safe either. They came out there in a true cover 3, only one single safety high, but Sioux Falls didn't have a play in a route tree to challenge that free safety. Otherwise, that could have been very interesting.
Now Colin Hart is on the field. Maybe Sioux Falls just wanted to see if they could have one play to try and confuse the Chicago defense. It's going to be a quarterback dive. That's a risky play. It's going to end the first half. It's Chicago Wildcats 14, the undefeated Sioux Falls Sparrows 7, as we head to the break in a wild and crazy first half of football. Sum it up for me, Eddie Gage.
Well, as you just said earlier, turnovers by both teams. We had 2 interceptions, a fumble lost. It's just been crazy. I mean, look at this offense by Sioux Falls, 128 yards of total offense, yet they find themselves only down 14-7. Plenty of ball time left in this game to make a run here. It's not, they're not down too far where they need to worry about getting Colin Hart taken out of the action here. There's still plenty of time. And this game is far from over, but as you said, I'm just kind of shocked by it all. Both teams just seem to be getting away from themselves and what they're accustomed to doing. But Chicago righted the ship, and the offensive coordinator, as I said, got E.T. King some confidence by giving them some easy throws, some safe throws, and getting Ash Odom back involved, which led to them, capturing the lead just before the half here. And it's going to be an interesting ball game.
And there you see the fumbles that have occurred in this ball game. But when Colin Hart has been put in a position to succeed in the power run game, with blockers in front of him going strong side, diving straight at the throats of the Wildcats, he's been very effective. But they started to get away from that in the middle of the quarter, and I think that's what has let the Wildcats really have a hold on this game.
I tell you what, there's a head coach down there in Arizona who wishes that they came out here with this same game plan, because they wore us out with that power running game, getting both their guards involved. Number 72 and 74, Corey Fuenta and Cooper Colston, did a number on us all game, and we were unable to limit them in the first half. We got things bottled up in the second half, but by then it was too little too late. Sioux Falls will be smart to get back to that approach and get their power running game on board, because right now they're doing some things that I'm just not accustomed to seeing.
And they're not in a position where they have to abandon the run game. They're only down by 7 as we are back inside the Thunderdome in Chicago, Illinois for the second half.
Plenty of time left. This game is far from over.
And the Sparrows are going to get the ball first in the second half, as Anthony Cece has the ball on the tee to begin the second 2 quarters of play. Chicago with the lead, 14-7. The ball is in the air, and it's game on for the second half. All to play for, and for Sioux Falls, they're going to have to grind out a comeback win on the road if they want to stay undefeated. And that's a fantastic coverage on that return, as Sioux Falls only gets out to the 23-yard line.
Great special teams coverage. A.J. Levy, I know he's a superstar, but guess what? He's on the field on special teams as well.
Not often you see a 9-season veteran returning kicks, taking all that punishment at high speed. Here's offset eye on 1st and 10 from their own 23. Here's a handoff. Colin Hart, strong side left. He's trying and cut it upfield. He's going to break one tackle and get 7 yards to the 30-yard line. And if they did that every play for the rest of this game, I think they'll have success.
They may, but they may kill Colin Hart in the process. I don't think he's made for that kind of heavy usage.
True.
But yeah, I get what you're saying.
And he also has split a lot of carries with Jalen Wells, the fullback, this season. Just last week, Hart had 23 carries, Wells had 14 carries, whereas in previous seasons, Colin Hart would have gotten all of those, all 30-something. I can't do it.
Oh, yeah.
And here, like that, Wells dive up the middle, first down and 10 to the 36-yard line.
Rare to see a fullback get 6 yards off a dive, but Sioux Falls does it with ease each and every week, it seems.
You get both the linebackers shading over to try and cover Colin Hart, who they think is going to bounce it outside, leaves the middle wide open. Here is Colin Hart. Again, strong side left. Couldn't find a blocker. It only gets one as he's brought to the ground by Blake Craze. And an interesting thing about Blake Craze is, just remembered this yesterday, he holds a tied record for the most solo tackles in a game with 16.
My goodness.
Handoff, Colin Hart. He kept bouncing it outside. He had a lane, but he was absolutely hammered by Blake Craze. And the other interesting thing about that 16 solo tackle game, Eddie, is we were both there. It was at the Simulation Football League convention last summer against Charleston.
I remember how they kept bringing up his name as the game progressed.
3rd and 6, Tyree to the far side, caught by Porter. First down up to the 48 near midfield.
That's what you like to see if you're a fan of Sioux Falls. 2nd and 3rd down in manageable situations where they don't have to stray too far away from what they like to do, and put themselves opportunities to keep the chains moving.
Tyree deep over the middle into traffic and somehow caught by Warren. He was in between 3 orange jerseys and he hangs on to the football at the Chicago 27.
I'm not sure how that ball found his hands, but he did. There was a slew of Chicago Wildcats defenders in the area, 3 of them. A 4th was trailing, and yet he found a way to bring that ball in. What a catch.
Not sure how he brought that one in, but it is a 1st down and 10 for the Sioux Falls Sparrows. Look out, Julian Tyree. He got hammered in the backfield for a loss of 7. Hello, Raymond Jones III with his 2nd sack of the ball game.
Chicago invested in their defensive line this season, something they're not, accustomed to be known for, and it's been paying off so far this season for them.
2 rookies on the defensive line, Judas Essie and Raymond Jones. Now on 2nd and 17, no running backs in sight for Julian Tyree in a 5-wide set. He's going to throw it down the far side, and it's incomplete. He had Warren behind the defense, but he threw it to him out of bounds.
Yeah, he let his receiver. I couldn't tell from that angle if he let his receiver too far out of bounds or if he just ran too far to the sideline and didn't give his receiver a place to put that ball. That should have been a touchdown.
Four wide set, 3rd and 17. 7:43 to play 3rd quarter. Over the middle, tipped and almost. Wait, did he catch that? Do not tell me Riley Porter came down with that football. That was unbelievable.
He did.
Oh, no, he didn't.
That ball hit the ground.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good to know. Good to know my eyes aren't deceiving me. We've already seen one crazy deflected catch in this ball game. I didn't need to see a second one. And they are, because of the sack, Sioux Falls is outside of field goal range, so Max Moholt will try to pin Chicago deep. The punt is up.
Good
Fair
punt.
catch at the 11-yard line. Good punt. It'll be the deepest starting field position for the Chicago Wildcats. When we come back, they have a 14-7 lead on the SFL on 11 Sports and For the Fans. Chicago with a 7-point lead and the football. 7:33 to go, third quarter. Michael Trillo, Eddie Gage with you in the broadcast booth. Mark Mello is on stats tonight. Here's Ash Odom, falls forward for a yard into a knot of sparrows, which I did look up. That's the official name for a group of sparrows.
Ash Odom is averaging 4.8 yards a season, but thus far, Sioux Falls has held him to under 4.
Both defenses have actually played very well in this ball game. Multiple interceptions and fumbles for each side. Aside, and a pass over the middle is caught as a leaping catch up to the 27-yard line is hauled in, and that'll be a first down for Chicago.
Yeah, they ran an arrow route there, which can be very hard to defend because you're crossing at least 2 multiple zones and very hard to play to defend. If the quarterback doesn't see the safety sitting over the top, though, it could be a pick 6. But if read right, that's a very, as I said, difficult play to defend.
King on 1st and 10, throws to the near side. That corner route has been very, very good for the Wildcats today, and another catch for J.C. Torres, who also made the previous catch over the middle.
It has, and the reason it's so hard to defend because they sent the receiver to his side down on a skinny post, which gets that safety out of there and forces that corner to drop back, and it leaves that area of the field wide open every time. As a defense, you can only take so much away.
Second down and 5 from the 31. 6:15 to go, third quarter. King over the middle, and it's caught. A diving catch by Davius Reed. Only his second reception of the evening, but it's a first down for Chicago at the 45.
And E.T. King did his receiver a big favor there by putting that ball low to the ground, forcing him down because it protects his receiver and prolongs his career.
A nice time-consuming drive being eaten up by the Wildcats here as Reed gets another catch on a slant and gets 5 yards out of it up to the 49, just past midfield into the Sioux Falls territory.
Perhaps Reed was on the sidelines in between possessions talking to his offensive coordinator and saying, hey, I can make plays out here too, coach. Don't forget about me.
Handoff middle, Odom trying to pick his way through, and he does! Unbelievable, he's gone! Somehow he found the way through the entire Arrows defense, and he's going to have a hat trick of rushing touchdowns!
I was just talking about how Sioux Falls had kept him bottled up beneath his season average, and just like that, you can't stop him. You can only hope to contain him. And that time, Sioux Falls did not do a good job of that. Touchdown, Chicago, and they just extended their lead here tonight.
Usually you'll see the defense swallow up a running back there for a gain of 1 or 2, but somehow Ash Odom just broke through everybody and scampered down the field for a touchdown. And now Sioux Falls could be in a bit of a tricky spot here, down 20, potentially 21-7, with half the third quarter gone.
Yeah, Jonathan Kemp had a chance to bring him down there, and he was able to slip out of his grasp, and he was off to the races after that.
extra point up and good from CC with 5:10 to go. It's 21-7 Chicago over Sioux Falls, and the undefeated Sparrows record is now in hot water.
Chicago is smelling blood, but they got a long way to go.
Yeah, still a quarter and a half to go. And this is a Sparrows team that averages 30 points a game, so they can score in bunches when they need to, but it's going to be deep field position at their own 21-yard line after the return by Levy.
Yeah, perhaps Sioux Falls, an offensive coordinator, is going to throw that game plan out the window and get back to what works to try to get them back in this ball game. We'll see.
Fullback dive to Jalen Wells, and Chicago leads this series 2-1 in the 3 previous matchups between Chicago and Sioux Falls, and the home team has won every single game that these two have played in their history.
So far, it's par for the course.
Wells gets the ball again, gets back to the line of scrimmage, and no more, brings up a 3rd down and 9. They met twice in Season 10 when they were divisional opponents, back when the SFL had divisions, and Chicago won 31-10. Sioux Falls returned the favor later in the season, 23-10. And then it took 2 seasons for them to match up again. In Season 13, the Chicago Wildcats won 28-19. Underarm throw, tipped and intercepted. This is going to be fantastic field position for Chicago to try and extend the lead. They've got the ball at the 26-yard line.
Wow, just as I said earlier, Sioux Falls does not like to be in 3rd and long situations. And that ball was actually dropped as it looked like it hit the receiver on the torso there, or the leg or something, bounced right off of him and into the defender's hands.
Chicago in fantastic field position right after this. This is the Simulation Football League on 11 Sports and For the Fan. Well, if 2 interceptions each side was not enough, a 3rd interception for the Chicago defense has set up the Wildcats already with a 14-point lead at the 26-yard line of Sioux Falls. A pass over the middle into the soft zone is complete for 7 yards. And Ron Hoff made that interception for Chicago, so he now moves into 2nd place because I believe Zane Doty had a couple of interceptions in the Carolina game. But this is coming into the week. Interception leaders, you see A.J. Levy on there, Ron Hoff also on there, so a lot of talented defensive backs in this football league.
Absolutely. A.J. Levy is among the best of them. Probably just a hair shade less talented than Eddie Gage.
2nd down and 3. Throw out to the near side, Odom, and he did Odom no favors.
None.
He is dropped behind the line for a loss of 2. It'll be 3rd and 5.
Yeah, on such passes like that, you want to lead the receiver. Get the ball out in front of him.
3rd and 5 from the 21. Sparrows really would love to hold Chicago to a field goal attempt here. No field goals have been attempted by either team up to this point in the game. King, near side, receiver ran in the wrong way. Could have had a 1st down, but instead will get a no gain on the play when he caught that ball about 4 yards upfield, did Carter, and it will be 4th and 5, and here comes the field goal unit.
Yeah, he had the out route open as well, but Chicago head coach is probably just happy just to settle for 3 here and get a 3-score lead.
CC from about 38. Kick is on the way. It is good. Anthony CC has been automatic this season. He's now 10 for 10 through 4 weeks.
10 field goals through 4 weeks of football. That's a lot. But Chicago is set up for it right now. Got a big lead. All they got to do is play smart football and try to hang on to it.
Now, for those of you watching for the first time, what are you watching? Well, this is the Simulation Football League. It's the first controllerless esport, allowing you, the viewer, to participate in all the action on the field without a controller in your hands. Visit simulationfl.net for details on how to get started with a team and in this league. Levy tried to spin away from a tackle, but only gets up to the 20-yard line. I tell you, the punt coverage and kickoff coverage from this Wildcats team has been very impressive today.
You just took the words right out of my mouth, and it started with the kicker himself getting that ball inside the goal line there.
And you can also, I'll finish my point after this 1st and 10 from their own 20. Handoff. Colin Hart looking for a lane, finds one, but it's closed up just as quickly as only a 4-yard gain on the play. Clint Hendershot made the tackle. But if you're watching this and want to know more immediately, you can head on over to twitch.tv/FTFnext and join in our live chat room you can get on and chat with players, coaches, spectators, fans of the SFL who'll be happy to tell you all about it and get you involved right away. Here is a fullback dive and a big hit by Blake Craze on the fullback Wells. And it'll bring up 3rd and 4.
Wells came into this game with 36 touches so far in this young season. He's continuing it tonight with a lot of duty he's been called into action to, which is rare for a fullback, but he continues to get the ball. Big 3rd down for Sioux Falls right here, 3rd and 4.
Sioux Falls has not liked 3rd downs in this game. It's going to be a pass down the seam, caught up to the 45-yard line. They didn't block Riley Porter, and that means it's a new set of downs for the Sparrows.
That was a big 3rd down as Sioux Falls has had in this game to try and keep this drive alive. And he found on a receiver who was pretty much wide open. Good vision there by Julian Tyree there.
Sioux Falls, at least for now, has conquered their 3rd down demons and gets a fresh set of downs up near midfield at the 45-yard line. Under a minute to go, 3rd quarter, just 50 seconds in it. Colin Hart breaks one tackle and gets 4 yards off the left-hand side. And he's averaging about 4.5 yards per carry tonight.
It looks like someone got away with a face mask there, too, on that carry.
Just a single receiver each side. Plenty of room for Tyree to throw it. He throws it downfield behind the defense. There goes A.J. Warren to the 5, and he's tackled at the 4-yard line before he can get in the end zone. They hit you with the hammer right when you least expect it, Eddie.
Yes, they do. I talked about this earlier. Sioux Falls, they do such a great job of getting their both their backs involved. It's only a matter of time before you end up caught peeking, anticipating the run, because you want to get there and close up all those gaps. And the next thing you know, the ball is floating right over your head, and you have that oh no moment.
We have reached the end of the 3rd quarter. Sioux Falls trying to save their undefeated record. They'll have the ball in the red zone when we come back. This is the Simulation Football League on 11 Sports and for the fans. Big pass played. A.J. Warren sets up the Sioux Falls Sparrows at the 4-yard line. 1st and goal with 11 minutes to go in the ball game. Welcome to the 4th quarter. I'm Michael Chiarello. Eddie Gage is alongside me, along with Mark Mello in the stats position tonight. Handoff, Colin Hart, left side, walks in untouched. Touchdown, Sparrows. And this is a ball game with 10:58 to go.
Just like that, Greg Gaines was beat on a deep pass, a play ago. Colin Hart seals the deal with a touchdown. And just like that, it's a 2-score game. This game is far from over.
Well, the running backs have scored all the touchdowns tonight. 3 for Ash Odom for Chicago, and now 2 for Colin Hart for the Sioux Falls Sparrows.
That does not surprise me.
No, it really doesn't.
Yeah.
With 2 teams that really love to run the football. And as the SFL has become more and more of a quarterback-dominated league with names like Christian Christensen and Ashley Jackson, dominating the league week in, week out, it's good to see a nice old-fashioned run-it-up-your-throat football game.
I personally love it.
And it lets the defenses shine as well. A lot of big hits from D linemen and linebackers in this one.
Yeah, Craze has put out a number of big hits today.
10-point game as Chicago's going to get the ball back to try to run out some clock. As skipping through the first tackle and getting up to the 28 is Davius Reed.
Chicago does not want to give Sioux Falls any good start fielding position. They want to make them earn any points they able to get thus far with the rest of this game remaining. So put a good drive together, stick with what's been working so far, and try to close this game out.
They're in the heavy set run formation here. Handoff, Odom gets a nice block and gets in the open field and powers his way for 12 yards up to the 40.
My goodness. Ash Odom in this power running game in Chicago, he has just been baptizing defenders on a number of occasions thus far today. He wasn't touched until he's about 7 or 8 yards downfield.
Well, the longest run of the day was the 49-yard rushing touchdown for Odom, and he looked like he was one tackle away from setting a new record in this game with a 70-yard rushing touchdown. But it's 1st and 10 for Chicago at their own 40. Here's Shan Varner grabbing a catch and scampering out of bounds after a 6-yard pickup.
I believe that's Shan's first catch since the first quarter, if I'm not mistaken. But
it is indeed.
Yeah.
Varner, the owner, head coach, and also tight end of the Chicago Wildcats squad.
Wears a lot of hats.
Empty set on 2nd and 4 for E.T. King. Let's see if they try to beat him deep. They will. King going down the field, and it is intercepted! Now both quarterbacks have thrown 3 picks, and it's A.J. Levy crawling his way up the leaderboards with another interception.
A.J. Levy, one of the best in the SFL to play this game. Just sitting back there, eyes on the quarterback the entire time. Only one receiver in this zone. Easy read for him, picked off, and just like that, as I said, ladies and gentlemen, this game is not over.
A 10-point lead with 10 minutes to go. Really, that can evaporate in a heartbeat as you saw the big drive from Sioux Falls on their last possession. From their own 31, Colin Hart looking for a lane, won't find it, gets about 1 yard on the play. The last time these teams met was last year as Chicago beat Sioux Falls 28-19. As we mentioned earlier, the home team has won all 3 previous meetings, but when these 2 franchises clash. As you see there, Tyree had 5 interceptions in that game. A.J. Barnes had 10 tackles. I haven't really mentioned Barnes much today. He's been quietly shutting down his defenders deep down the field. As a pass play goes for 5 out to Porter, it'll be a 3rd and 3.
3rd and 3. Chicago, I tell you what, I've been very impressed with the way they've been able to bottle up Colin Hart in this running game so far today. Based on this nickel defense, I did not personally think it was possible, but Blake Craze and Clinton Hendershot have proven me wrong before, and they're doing it again here tonight.
Hart averaging about 4 yards per carry tonight. He's going to get the ball again. I thought he got a block, but he gets taken down from behind by... There is that man again. Blake Craze drops him right at the line of scrimmage. 4th down and 3. And let's see if they go for it or just punt it away. I saw Max Moholt coming off the bench, so it is going to be a punt.
Yeah, on a 40 on this side of the football, that's a smart thing to do. I know the coach is upset, but it's the smart play.
Great stop there by the Chicago defense. It looked like Colin Hart had a lane to get the first down, but he was dragged down from behind by Craze. And Chicago back on offense when we come back. It's Wildcats 24, Sparrows 14. This is the SFL on 11 Sports and for the fans. Stay with us. Eight minutes, 44 seconds to go, fourth quarter. Michael Trimillo, Eddie Gage, Mark Mello with you in Chicago as the Wildcats have a 10-point lead and the football. E.T. King under center, Ash Odom behind him. Three receivers to aim at for King. King throws to the far side, and a receiver out there on a corner route, and it's caught. And a 9-yard pickup on the far side. Good play on first down. J.C. Torres has been all over the place. 8 receptions on 8 targets tonight.
And he's been doing it on a variety of routes. We've seen the out route here. We've seen a dig route. We've seen a hitch. I mean, he just put it all together tonight.
On second and inches, Odom breaks a tackle and gets into Sioux Falls territory at the 49. And again, he was one tackle away from possibly going the distance. James Kelly was the one who brought him down. That's a defensive end running behind his own linebackers to make a tackle. That was an impressive play.
As Odom is feeling himself right now, ladies and gentlemen.
King checks it down to Odom. There's a lot of work to do. He'll get back to the line of scrimmage and fall forward for a yard. Nick Fargo on the tackle.
To the fans, that looks like a frustrating play, but there was no one open. It's a smart play.
It's better than taking a sack, I'll tell you that.
Or throwing an interception.
Now 2nd and 9 after the 1-yard pickup. E.T. King pressured, moves in the pocket, throws, and it's incomplete, knocked away by Carpenter.
The defensive line knocked E.T. King off his spot, and Possibly made that pass incompletion because he was forced to off to his left, making that ball float in space that much further.
It almost looked like King was trying to throw that ball away, but underthrew it, and it almost went into the hands of the defense.
The last thing Chicago would need right now.
Let's see how the Wildcats handle a 3rd and 9. From just inside Sioux Falls territory at the 48. King rifles it down the field. It's intercepted. It's A.J. Levy again. Unreal. He gets leveled by Brandon Royals at the 43-yard line. How many times are Chicago going to throw this Sparrows team a bone to get back into this ball game? They've got to take advantage of one of these.
The coach is on the sidelines about ready to throw the playbook to the ground in disgust, throw his headset and anything else he can find. He's looking for a new stick of gum, anything. He's just irate on the sidelines right now. But what's even more impressive is Sioux Falls got that pick out of a 4-3 base. The way they were spread out, that's really impressive.
7 minutes to make up a 10-point deficit for the Sparrows. It's Colin Hart. He hasn't had a big run today, but he gets 7 on that one, and he's dropped by Hendershot.
Sioux Falls is very fortunate to be in this ball game at this point.
Follow the SFL on social media on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and more, all at Simulation FL. Make sure to catch more content like The Kramer Show, game highlights, and more by subscribing to our YouTube channel, so you do not miss a moment of the action when we're not on TV. A swim move gets Wells a first down to the 46-yard line of Chicago into plus territory for the Sparrows.
Wells was slow to get up there. I was beginning to think he was hurt. Very impressive, though, for Sioux Falls to stick to the game plan. I mean, they've been status quo with their offense.
No outs. Here's another fullback dive. Wells actually got a good lane to run through there. Got 4 before he is driven back by a couple of Wildcats at the 43-yard line.
He had a good lane, but before he got that lane, he had to make a decision and make a quick cut to the right, which is something you rarely see out of a fullback who's able to do. I mean, they usually don't have that kind of physical agility, but he was, and Sioux Falls have a gold mine when they was able to pick this guy up in the draft.
Clock is ticking, 5:42 to go at the snap. Here's Colin Hart. He's trying to bounce it outside, and he gets bottled up right at the line of scrimmage. Ron Hoff made the tackle.
Yeah, I thought if he'd have kept it to the outside, he might have had more of an opportunity to make some yards on that play, but perhaps he saw something I didn't. He cut it back inside before being corralled.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with the secondary and linebackers of the Chicago defense today, just filling all the gaps, giving Colin Hart nowhere to run. Now a 3rd and 6, over the middle, into the wind, caught in traffic, down to the 23-yard line. It's Riley Porter again. Big play, Porter, another catch.
Both these quarterbacks, despite their poor play with some of their decision-making, have made some great throws. Once again, Porter had to wait until he cleared the zone, and he was able to stay tough in the pocket, stand up, and get that throw downfield. Sioux Falls is in striking distance of making this a one-score game.
At the 23-yard line, I couldn't see who Tyree was throwing it to until the last second when Porter showed up and said, "Hey, I'll take that." Now here's a throw down the seam, caught at the 10. Warren inside the red zone to the 9. And they'll go up-tempo with 4:35.
See, something he likes, and he's going to force his hand.
Tyree, plenty of time to throw, goes underneath. And that's Noe Terrazas.
Chicago needs to get out of this defense.
The tight end.
The sagging back, making easy throws.
Tyree thrown to the ground for a sack. Oh, I thought they would have called maybe a timeout there to get out of this up-tempo. It's 3rd and goal from the 9. Tough play coming up here. Tyree looking for his options. Throws to the middle. Caught. Touchdown. Riley Porter. Right there when you need a big play. And it's a one-score game with less than 5 minutes to go.
But that's why he didn't call a timeout. He caught Chicago in a zone, and they would not get out of it. They're allowed to keep backing out of it, trying to protect the end zone. And meanwhile, Julian Tyree and company just took whatever they could take and marched downfield. And now, extra point pending, they'll be down by 3. and there's still 4 minutes and change left in this ball game.
Excellent poise by Julian Tyree as the defense was collapsing around him to stay in the pocket and let the play develop and find Porter in the end zone. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a ball game. Chicago 24, Sioux Falls 21, 4 minutes to go. It all ends after the break. This is the SFL on 11 Sports and for the fans. Don't touch that dial. Sioux Falls now down by just 3 with 4 minutes and 3 seconds to go in the fourth quarter. Michael Turillo, Eddie Gage, Mark Mello in the Thunderdome in Chicago, Illinois. Sioux Falls trying to remain unbeaten on this young season and buck a trend of history. Whenever the Sparrows and the Wildcats get together, it's always been the home team that has triumphed. And right now they've got a slim 3-point advantage. Eddie, every time we call a game together, something magical seems to happen.
I was just thinking about that during the commercial break, but you're right. These games we tend to call, I'm not sure. Guys may start saying, hey, give us more Eddie and Turillo here.
I wouldn't mind that. This has been a fun evening full of scoring, turnovers, hard hits, everything you want in a football game. Here's Ash Odom. He started out so brightly, Odom, but he's kind of fallen a little bit in the yards department in the second half. He does have all 3 of the Chicago touchdowns.
There are moments like these in which running backs are asked to what they call close the show. Can Ash Odom and company do that for their team?
It's going to be King on 2nd and 5 to throw. He gets hit as he throws, and he throws it into a traffic, and it's knocked away. We're looking for Driver on the back end. I am reminded in the chat on twitch.tv/FTFnext by Mince and Mind that in week 1, the Sparrows were down to the Queen City Corsairs, drove 95 yards in the final minutes and walked it off for the touchdown. So the Sparrows are not strangers to intense fourth quarter finishes. 3rd down and 5. If they can get a stop here, that would be huge. It's going to be Odom. It's going to be, oh, he found a way to get a first down. He looked dead to rights in the backfield, but Odom somehow gets skinny and gets a move of the chains.
Well, he got that first down because the defensive tackle did a great job of penetrating, but unfortunately he had no help on the back end, and they were all blocked up. That was an easy first down once he got past the first level.
Clock continuing to drain. Both teams still have 3 timeouts, so it's not over by any stretch of the imagination.
He's going to milk this clock.
Oh, yeah. Snap with 10 seconds to go. Odom dropped for a gain of only 2 by Nick Fargo.
I'm not sure why he decided to snap it there. He could have held that ball and got it inside of 5, and that way this clock would have dwindled all the way down to the 2-minute warning, forcing Sioux Falls to call a timeout.
They're again in this heavy run-only formation. Hand off Odom, another yard. 3rd down and 7. We do have some teams that like to pass out of that no wideouts formation, like to move a tight end in the flat, but I don't think Chicago's going to do that.
As long as they continue to get productive yards, this ball is not going to leave the ground.
One final time, we'll step away for the sponsor break. We'll be back with the conclusion of this epic encounter right after this. This is the Simulation Football League on 11 Sports and for the fans. 2 minutes to go in the ball game. Sparrows trying to get a stop. They've got 3rd and 7 for Chicago on their own 36-yard line. It's going to be a run. Odom trucks one defender and almost gets there. Sioux Falls calls a timeout, and they're going to get the ball back. Man, they trusted Odom, and he almost paid dividends.
Do you like that call there, Trulio, to run the ball on 3rd and 7?
I don't. Go for an out route it's been your best passing play. Send your receivers to the sticks and try and get a first down, because if you do, you could just run out almost the entire rest of the clock. Leaving Sioux Falls now with 2 timeouts and almost 2 minutes to go down and score and either tie this game or take the lead. Oh, A.J. Levy with a nice stutter step to get past 2 defenders, get up to the 29-yard line. And we haven't talked about him much tonight, but safety A.J. Barnes, he has an interception and his 3rd all-time in solo tackles. He is another amazing veteran, one of the 9 seasoned veterans we have in this game. Talk to me a little bit about A.J. Barnes, Eddie.
Ball player. As I said earlier, he's I'm telling you, him and A.J. Levy, both of those guys, impressive. Ball hawks all over the field.
Tyree throwing to the near side, incomplete, looking for Porter.
A minute and 44 and some change. All 3 timeouts. There's a ton of time. You know, the time clock right now is, not an issue for Sioux Falls. They just need to find a way to get downfield.
Well, by my reckoning, there are 4 9-season veterans in this ballgame. Julian Tyree and A.J. Levy on the Sioux Falls side, and Maurice Spurgeon and A.J. Barnes on the Chicago side. Hart on the swing pass gets it 6, and 3rd down and 4. This is a huge play right here. Tyree. Oh, he got the man he wanted on the corner route. And it's a first down for Al Dillapre Sr.
That was impressive that he was able to hang on to that ball because he had a defender right in his lap.
Yeah, not A.J. Barnes. Ron Hawk, who had one of the earlier interceptions, was chasing him all the way. But he made a little bit of space and got the first down up to the Sioux Falls 48. A minute 26 to go. And he got out of bounds, which stops the clock. Still 2 timeouts for the Sparrows. Empty set for Tyree. Oh, he got pressure in his face, and he almost threw a pick. He threw it right at A.J. Barnes, and Barnes dropped it.
Chicago has defended this 90-yard slants play as well as anyone has thus far this season today. I've been impressed with them out of that set.
They're definitely throwing up a blueprint for other teams in this league to follow, because I know a couple of these coaches in the league personally, and 90-yard slants, I don't know about you, Eddie, as a head coach, but it seems to be a bane of offensive coordinators and head coaches.
I'll comment on that later.
or defensive coordinators and head coaches. 2nd and 10 from the 48 after the incompletion. Tyree near side short, and Porter gets out of bounds. Gain of 4, stops the clock a minute 19.
90-yard slants, it can be defended and defended successfully, but the way some defensive coaches like to defend it, myself included, you can take it away, but you put yourself at a lot of risk doing so.
Another important 3rd down. This one a 3rd and 6. 4 receivers to aim at. No extra protection for Levy, and he's got a first down. Tyree, rather, has a first down on a slant pattern. And I'm trying to see who made that catch. It's Dillapre who hauls it in for his 2nd big catch of the drive, and it's first down to the Chicago 37.
Just outside of field goal range. All 3 timeouts at their disposal. No need to rush here.
Well, they got 2 timeouts left because they took one at the end of the last possession. Handoff. Hart almost got away, but brought down from behind. And they'll go up tempo here. 45 seconds. Clock management could be an issue here. Handoff. Hart. They may be forced to call a timeout here. 35 seconds. Are they even in field goal range here at the 30?
They are, but they're making it dicey.
28 seconds left. Another handoff to Colin Hart, and he falls forward. 4th and inches. Oh, what do you do here? Oh, man, a huge choice.
44 yards.
For the Sioux Falls coaching staff.
44 yards from here, I'm kicking the field goal.
Oh, man. Maxwell Falk, 7 for 7 on the season coming into the night. He hasn't made one. And they're going to go for it.
Oh, no, they're just going to try to draw him. Oh,
no. They snap it on 4th and 1. And Tyree gets the pass away, and it's incomplete. And Chicago's going to survive and win the ball game 24-21. Oh, I think that's a poor decision by the coaching staff. Tyree just let it rip, and it was out of the reach of everybody. And Chicago survives a late rally from Sioux Falls, and they're going to win at home.
Shan Varner is on the sidelines jumping up and down as a player, coach, and owner. He's over there going ballistic right now. His defensive line, they've been getting pressure sporadically throughout this game, and they couldn't come up with a better time to get it again here, forcing that errant throw. And, yeah, a bad decision by Sioux Falls there.
Last time out for Sioux Falls, and that'll do it. One more down will end the ball game.
If I'm Sioux Falls, if that's the case, and I'm going to decide to go for it on 4th down, I'm going to at least put up a front as if I'm going to have a threat of running the ball here. I mean, you got Clint Hendershot, you got Colin Hart in the backfield as a viable running threat. I would at least put that as an option in the playbook to potentially run the ball there on 4th down.
Don't go anywhere. The final game of Week 4 is coming up at 9 p.m. Eastern on 11 Sports and For the Fans as Mexico City heads to Jacksonville. It's the Aztecs and the Pride. That's at 9 p.m. Eastern, just about 20 minutes from right now. And that's the end of the ball game. Chicago holds on. The home team continues to win every game in this series. Sioux Falls gave it a valiant hoorah in the 4th quarter, but the defense for the Wildcats held. Eddie, sum up this game because it's probably going to be impossible in the time we have for postgame.
I tell you what, Chicago started this season 0-2 and have bounced back and have now tied it up, and they're now 2-2. 2 back-to-back impressive wins. The first over Houston, this one here tonight over an undefeated Sioux Falls team who beat the brakes off of my defense in the first half, so I can vouch for their credibility. And just like that, they've come back and spoiled these home fans with an impressive win tonight over an undefeated team, and they are right back in the thick of things.
Sioux Falls drops to 3-1 on the season. They'll head home and face Charleston next week. Chicago improves to 2-2. They are at Eddie Gage's Arizona Scorpions next week, and good luck, Eddie, because it's a very balanced Chicago Wildcats team, and they've really come into their own the last 2 weeks.
It is. They embarrassed themselves and put on a bad showing against Queen City, in which Stephen Hacker almost broke the all-time receiving yards record. I believe he fell about 7 yards short, but they've bounced back nicely here with back-to-back wins and they put themselves right back in the thick of things. I have a tough task next week trying to stop this offense and maintain and somehow try to keep my quarterback upright and keep my running game somewhat afloat with a tough linebacking core, Blake Craze and Clint Hendershot. But I look forward to the challenge.
I'm going to need a player of the game from you. It's been wild and it's been crazy. I'm almost tempted to give it to A.J. Levy, 2 interceptions, but I am going to give it, I think, to Ash Odom. He had all the touchdowns for Chicago.
Ash Odom is going to be the player of this game, but when they get to the locker room, A.J. Levy better get a game ball because he kept them in this game and allowed Sioux Falls to stick to the script. And allowed Chicago to skip to the script.
In a wild encounter that saw 8 turnovers, 3 interceptions for each side, and 2 fumbles. The player of the game officially is going to be Ash Odom with his 150 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns For Mark Mello on Stats, Eddie Gage, my commentator, I have been your play-by-play commentator, Michael Trimillo, saying stick around for the final game of the week, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for coming. Good night. Drive home safely.